So then Minister Pradhan, Dharmendra Pradhan, who is the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and also now for Skills and Entrepreneurship, has been a key driver in reforming the Indian oil and gas sector. Could you say a little bit about the reforms he has put in place in the last few years?
I think that the record of reform and change in India under Minister Pradhan in the last few years has been quite extraordinary. Last year, he actually unveiled one of the major planks in the new energy policy, the Small Fields Program. This year, overall exploration policy at CERAWeek. And by the way, that was why it was very appropriate now to come to New Delhi and continue the discussion. But it has been a major change in terms of, for years, the international industry said, we're not interested in India. We see a real turnaround. They are interested in India. They are interested in investing, and what's required is investment. And so the upstream is now seen as, has risen for the global industry, obviously also of interest to Indian investors. And at the same time, we're seeing a lot of reform in the markets that are making it competitive, that are making the markets attractive for investment and bringing greater efficiency to it. So I think under Minister Pradhan, there's been a remarkable path of reform that is really putting India in a stronger position in terms of energy, and that's certainly going to be one of the things under the spotlight at CERAWeek India in New Delhi very shortly. We have a very strong set of speakers. Amin Nasser heads the largest oil company in the world. Saudi Aramco is absolutely the foundation or a critical element in global oil. What they do matters to everybody. And the fact that he's coming to India, the fact that he's focused on India as a market and represents India's growing role. So I think he'll have some very important messages that will be very significant for the Indian oil and gas industry. And we know that Saudi Aramco's interest in India is very great. We're very pleased that Mohammed Barkindo is coming. He's the Secretary General of OPEC, and he has been the key guy, the key man in terms of bringing together this OPEC, non-OPEC cooperation, which has been stabilized the world oil market. He's worked very hard, and he's going to share with us in New Delhi the strategies, the thinking that OPEC has, and working with non-OPEC going forward in terms of what's going to happen in the oil market over the next year or two. So people will be listening very, very closely to what he has to say. I think a third speaker that's obviously very important is Minister Pradhan himself, because he is at the forefront of reform. He's leading the Indian oil and gas industry. And so his thoughts on the next steps, what happens in the future, again, people pay very close attention to. And of course, we're delighted that we're going to have the leaders of the Indian oil and gas industry at the very top levels from the companies there. And I think their messages, their thinking, their strategies will be very important to the audience. And I think all of this will help bring a clearer picture of what to expect. I think people will find that these couple of days in New Delhi, October 8th to 10th, will bring together global thinking, Indian thinking, where the industry is globally and in India and where it's going. And I think it's not only going to be about oil and gas, we're also going to have a very important session on electric vehicles, which is a very hot topic. I think there's a lot of theories and ideas out there about timing and impact. This is so important for India, and I think the discussion we're going to have on electric vehicles will bring a lot of clarity to a subject that has a lot of noise and buzz around it, but needs greater clarity. So I'm really looking forward to that session.